Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Jersey, and today we are back on the coastal town. We are going to be continuing to push this layout, this design. Alright, so the main idea, what are we going to be working on today? So I had different options. I could have gone from the very front of the island and keep going the road that has to go to the other side of the river, or the other side. We could have gone more from the back side from Franklin and go where that bridge at and work ourselves that way. But what I decided on, I wanted to go and keep working on the idea that I have in my mind, is in the middle of the island, in the middle of the center, right? It's very boat dock heavy center, and so we got the beginning of that idea happening in front of Franklin's place, right? We got that little dock that's going down. So I knew already that I wanted to do a continuation across the river into the open space that we have on the other side, and that's what I wanted, and that's what we're going to be working on. We're going to be creating kind of like a boathouse dock area where a lot of the boats are gonna be at, where they're gonna be in storage, and it's just gonna be full center. But today, all the video today is doing the layout, doing the groundwork that we need to do so we can get this area ready. And like always, a lot of the part of this design is we want to have different angles, viewpoints, different ways to get in and out, and we want to be able to have a way that we can have a view and enjoy it. We want the dock to be able to be not like big, but I didn't want it to be small. And the way I had to do it is, at first I was working on it, but ended up being a little smaller than I wanted. So after I finished the first part of this video, and we are doing all the clean out, we did the first initial layout. When I went to sleep and came back the following day to keep working on it, I realized that it was a little too small. So what I ended up doing is working from the back, connecting to the bridge that I knew I want to have another way to come around it and see it from all the way back from Franklin's bridge, to know exactly how wide I wanted that road to go to where I needed to end. And it became this big thing that I needed to work on. And it's kind of like a little bit repetitive in many ways, because I had to like duplicate the dock one more time, just making it a little more wider, and then cutting the dock, because then the dock looked way too big and we had to shrink that. But then we had enough water area space to come in, and then that's when I started liking it. That's when I started feeling it. And that's kind of the big overview of everything that we are going to be doing in this video. The main point is we are creating the layout, we're creating the viewpoints, we're creating the high deck area that's going to look down towards the boat dock. We're going to have all the boat dock houses, and then another stairs to go down there, and another stairs to go up to another level inside that docking area. That by the end of the video, we do have the initial layout. It's not completely done, and then by the end of this video, you're going to notice that none of the decorations, none of the item placement, none of the boats, none of that is done. This is all just the layout. But I have fun making this one. I like the initial aesthetics of it. I think it's going to bring something more to the coastal town. More water, more dock, more bridges, more viewpoints areas to look at. So, and that's something that I'm truly excited. Okay, so what's happening? As in this portion of the video that we're going to be watching, especially in the very beginning, we're going to be doing a lot of cleaning. And as you saw in the beginning, it was just a lot of cleaning the dirt, cleaning it out. Here I'm marking the length, how far back am I picturing this. And like I stated before, this is actually, it's going to be going more past to the back. It's gonna go more, it's gonna be a lot longer, and it's gonna be a lot wider. So eventually all of this is gonna be pushed to a little bit to where the water's at. And because like I said, it came out a little too small, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do all this work and all that. But I did learn my lesson, right? We learned the lesson to not do compromises if we don't have to, like what happened with my volleyball court. And that's why I had to go back-to-back videos, because once I did the second part, then I did feel so much better in the revision version. And that's why the following morning, the following day, when I was able to work again, I looked at it again. I was like, you know what? I just need to make this wider. It's just a little smaller. It was gonna be a little more packed in that I wanted. So we went ahead and made it a little wider. So a lot of what you're gonna see is still the same layout. It's just we are eventually gonna widen it. But it's not bad, because if you're following this and you need a smaller dock area, then this will work for you. And then if you need it bigger, you can follow as we continue when we expand it. Or if you even need to go bigger, then you have the idea, and then you can go even bigger, right? Because it's always going to be depending on what you need on your island, what kind of aesthetics are you looking for, and what's going to match better for your island. My videos are always to try to give you an initial layout, an idea, an inspiration, and for you guys to run with it, to go and adjust it, to make it fit and maybe improve it. And I always feel like you guys are always improving the builds, and I think that's such an amazing thing to know and to read, how you guys are taking inspiration and how you guys are always improving and adding all these extra details to the builds that you guys are seeing here in the channel. All right, so the idea of this area right here is gonna be the dock. It's gonna be like a high-rise dock that's gonna be looking down into the lower part of the dock, right? So it's kind of like a little walkway that is more to view, to see the area, to enjoy what you're looking at. And we're gonna have like fences on the sides. And then I've been when it comes times to we start doing the decorating and start placing the items, a lot of the fences could change, in the sense that I don't know if I want a little more greenery. I don't know if I want flowers. I don't know if I want to use the hedges. I'm gonna have to do a lot of trial and error to see what fits better. Maybe I just keep a little fence. Maybe I do want to try another type of fence. But a lot of the items right here, especially the fences, it could stay the way it is, or I could start tweaking it a little bit and to see what's gonna fit better for the coastal town, for the view, for the aesthetic and all that. So this is another section right here that we just gotta clear out, because all this has to go down so we can have all this flat. So behind it, I know you guys see the birds back there, right? I did fence them in a little bit so they don't keep bothering me and attacking on this section. So their first thing, so right there is a spawn point, and I don't want that spawn point to go away. I want the birds to always be there. And so what I'm gonna try to do, my initial layout is that, as you see the bridge on the other side down there that's connected to the road, there's supposed to be a road, but that road is gonna go right through the whole bird stuff, and I don't want to get rid of that bird. So with the new update that's coming, that we are all excited, right? We all can't wait. We've seen some of the hints. We are excited for what we have seen, but we don't know what else we're gonna get. What kind of items, what kind of other recipes, crafting material, decorating stuff, and it's such exciting. It's so hard right now to keep sometimes making these videos, not knowing what we're gonna get, and because we could get so much better stuff that we want to use for decorating, for maybe a whole new build, a whole new design. And this is why also I approached the boat dock, because the boat dock is kind of more simple. I don't have to worry about many things that will change in the layout process. But I don't know, he could be adding so many more things that we can use in a boat dock, and especially item placement. But okay, so going back to the birds, you know, the idea is I kind of want to keep them, and it's gonna stay like that. That way, when we're walking on the top of the deck, we can see the birds. And normally there's two. I had a while back, I had to take care of one. It was annoying. I couldn't get him to stay in there and give me enough time. But once it responds, we're gonna have two. So the idea is, in that top of the mount, that the little cliff the birds are at. I think that's where I'm gonna be trying my new design for the new waterfall placement, for kind of like a little centerpiece and a little trial run. Once the update comes, it could be a good place to try it out and all that. And since I got like this river coming down in this side and a little bit of the ocean on the other side, maybe have the water coming down to the side, and I had to kind of design it once we get the update, see if I can make it work. But the idea is that you can see that water coming down on the sides and leading into the river or into the ocean, and then you got the wildlife, and then instead of the road going right through it, we just kind of work our way around. And maybe with bridges and stuff, it's gonna be a whole build once that update comes, and see what we can design. It may not work at all, and I may have to then figure something else, right? And that's part of designing, that's part of building, that's part of creating, is trying to do something, an idea, make it work. If we can't make it work, how can you reapproach the situation so we can then design something? Okay, so now after we clear that little section, now it's all flat because that's where water's gonna be. So now I'm kind of designing the dock. I'm trying to visualize what kind of dock do I want, how wide, how big, and all that. And so I'm placing the layout, because then the bottom part is where we are going to just go down and clear it out so water can come in, and it'll be deep and all that. So of course I wanted to use this new idea that we saw from Leanne's island tour that we went. I think everybody is taking so much inspiration from this idea to make a boathouse docking areas. And so once I saw that in that island tour, this idea came, and I wanted to make this boathouse dock area where people are just putting all the boats, and I knew I wanted to use these houses, and that's where this comes in, and this is why this build came in, because of the island tour that we did and we enjoyed. So now it's trying to see how far back I needed to go, and this is where a lot of the stuff I wasn't really compromising the build, but I noticed like, okay, I do want a little more dock space in front of the boathouse. That way we can walk, that way I can do some decorations and all that. So as you can see, I'm starting to like already pushing the design back and then more back, and trying to get it so to get a good feel, right? And so we keep designing, and then it was trying to figure out how many did I want it? Did I want them? How many back to back? Do I want a space in the middle? That way I can put some stuff. Do I want them more closing together? How many more houses do I want to fit? And it was, in my mind, I'm trying to think all this, because in paper it looks good. It's simple, you know. Oh, I'm marking I want a house here, I want another house here, and this is how I want the dog kind of to look like. But when you're going to put it into the build, into practice, then you see a little more how actually everything is looking, and how much space does it feel like you have. And I knew I wanted more space this time. That way we can walk, because I want to decorate this dog with items and item placement, and I wanted to feel like this dog is a little busy, it's being used. People are storing their boats here, but at the same time they're unloading whatever they brought. They're unloading whatever they're using, from fishing lines to crates to anything, you know. And that's why it was important not to dig down right away to bring the water, not to kind of finish filling up the place right away, because then I will have to dig so much. But I still ended up having to do that anyway, you know, because like I stated, the following day I came back in, I looked at it, and I was like, it's a little smaller than I wanted. And I think I needed to go bigger. That way I can feel like I have a little more space, and more a way that I can walk more comfortably and have enough space to decorate. And then I had to push the build more back. But the initial layout, it can still work with how small it is, or how more quaint it is. It's not bad. It's not like it's so small that it doesn't fit. It's just I knew I wanted a little bit more space. But at least in this part of the process that I was doing, I was okay. I feel like I got enough space. I got like the boathouse, and then I got like 2 tiles to 3 tiles of space, and then I can start. I was trying to imagine, okay, I can put a barrel here, I can put crates here, I can bring all these other items, I want to plant some stuff over here. So I was like, okay, not bad. So and then I knew I kind of wanted to have this a little higher area as well, just more for aesthetic, more for visualing, design. That way it's just more so it can look good, not that it's like truly practical or functional in many ways, but at the same time it's just another area that we can store boats and all that. So I wanted like 2 more houses on the very top, that way, because I knew I was gonna have a road from the back, right? On this build we have that front part of the dock that we see the high viewpoint, right? So when you cross over the bridge, you're in this viewing area that you can see the dock down, and we're going to be able to see the water, see the boat, see all the decoration from that angle. Then we cut on the other side, and at the same time the dock becomes a little less wide, but it's still a viewpoint, and it's just going to be like a 2 tile wide walkway, and you're going to be able to see and all that. And then that's going to lead to a road that's going to be behind this whole build back here, that's going to tie it in to the bridge from the back end of Franklin's area, you know, that bridge that we put at the end that you can kind of see sometimes back there. So I knew I was going to have a road, because that road back there is going to lead to the next building that we're going to have back here. In this corner we're going to put another building, another area. That way when we're in the coastal town, you know, my idea why I spread the building is it motivates me to walk the island. You know, I need to go to Tread's place, then I know I need to traverse the island, so I'm able to see my builds and not just have everything too close together, and then you never go to areas, you know, or when people come over, when people come visit, and you never get the experience to see a lot of the areas. So part of the idea of spreading the buildings, spreading the areas is for us to travel and see what you created. You know, we put all this work, we put all this effort, and we want to enjoy our creations, you know. And when we invite friends over, or when we have people helping us and they want to see this and they want to visit, they gotta travel. And then having different ways to travel and different things and different ways to look at, that's what pushes me, that's what truly pushes my builds to make sure that I have designs and viewpoint and things that are different to look at in many different angles. And that's why you see me back and forth, looking from over here, looking from on the other side, looking from the side, just trying to visualize, and then always having a little bit of in mind what's supposed to be on the other side. So that way it's not just it's not like you have to have everything perfect, right? You don't have to have your idea already set in stone what's going to be behind there. But I knew I was going to have a row, and I knew that row is going to lead to the next building, and I knew that. So by knowing that, I can start designing, and knowing that I need a viewpoint, I need a way to know and to come in and to get out, and then utilize that idea, so we have a way to also connect the dock. And that's why when I'm designing, it takes me a little longer, because I do try to think a little bit of ahead, just a little. Like I said, you don't have to know exactly 100% what you want to put on the other side of the build or what's going to be connecting. But if you're trying to create a little bit of a better layout, a little bit of better situation, at least knowing if this build is going to transition to a road, going to transition to a garden, it's going to transition to a little mini place, a walkway, anything, I truly believe that it will help you in the long run when you are designing your builds. And that's why I kind of know, like let's take this area for example, and you see the little steps that I've created, right? And when you go up, we got that little walkway on the top, right? The high deck area. And then you see that little stairs behind it that leads down. So my idea is I kind of, the idea that I have for that side is, when we go down the stair, it's gonna bring us to another road, right? And it's probably gonna be, I'm thinking I'm gonna do another cul-de-sac right there. And in the front of the cul-de-sac, I'm gonna make my first pool area. And then from the high dock area, you can see the dock from one side, but then when you look on the other side, we're gonna be able to see the pool area. And that's my take, and that's what I'm thinking, and that's my approach. And then I kind of know what I'm gonna plan to do on that side. And what I do is I write down the ideas on my notebook. You guys hear that I have this notebook. One day I may show you the notebook. You know, we'll make something fun out of it, and you can see my graph notebook paper and all that. And that way you guys can understand what and it's just writing ideas. You know, you just write down what you are what you kind of want to do, because sometimes when you're building, I don't know if this happens to you, but when I'm building, sometimes I get inspired and start imagining things that I want to do as I'm building this. And what I do right away is just write it down. You know, I got a little post-it notes on my side of the desk right here when I'm working, and sometimes I just write them down. Sometimes I'm at work, you know, and I'm watching a live stream, and I'm watching Reeves, Spec, KD, and any other person that's working on Dinkum live or videos, and then I see something and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good, let me write this down. And I just write down the ideas, because as you're working, as you're designing, as you're creating your layout, sometimes you can visualize what's coming next, you know. So okay, so here we are. I know I kind of went on a little longer there on how I approach some of the ways that I'm trying to design, and how do I think on my process. But okay, so the dock area, right? It's not looking bad, right? It's actually not looking too bad. It's looking pretty good. Now I'm looking at it again. It's not as small as I thought it was when I first was just, you know, doing the recordings and the gameplay and just working at it. But I think at the end, having it a little bit bigger, that way, the most important part for me is the water. I wanted to have a little more space on the water, because I want to put the boats, maybe jet skis, maybe the big sailboat that's coming. I don't know if I want the sailboats to be in this particular dock area, because on the other side it's gonna be one more boat dock area like this, right? So like I said, the big center of the island, because we have these two rivers going around the Franklin's area. You know, we have this river from this side, we got this river on this side, and the whole middle of this island is kind of like dock, and a dock. But the other dock is gonna be very different than this one, and I'm excited. I got some ideas, and I think it's kind of cool. Somebody gave a suggestion, something that I wanted, like I should do something like this. I don't want to give it up just yet. I don't want to reveal the idea, because I want to make sure that I can make it happen. But if I can make it happen, then that dock is going to become that, and that's going to be on the other side. So the other bridge that's leading to the other side, that's connected to the road, is going to lead us to another road, and then we're going to see this other dock that boats come in for a specific reason. And I think that's going to be another exciting build, another take, another way to do it, another way to bring things into our islands. But then as we work on these docks, then the surrounding areas, we're gonna start making more of the buildings, more of the roads and walkways. I already know I want to add a pool, so that's gonna be something new that we're adding to our town. And because I never made a pool yet, so I'm excited to do my own take on Dinkum on a pool, and I think that's gonna be very exciting. Okay, so this empty space down here, that's what I was kind of trying to work with a little bit more, is that, and that's the reason why I kind of extended the dock. I felt like by the time I added these little stairs here, the water placement where I was gonna have the water, it felt so small, and I think that's why I eventually decided to make it wider. And once we get to that point, you're gonna see why. And I think then eventually at the end of the video, we're gonna see when we bring the water in, because I kind of needed to see if once the water was in, if I have enough space, and if it felt good on the amount of area that I had. And to me it did. Once I got to that point, I was like, okay, I have enough water, I can work with this, it doesn't feel too tight. But as I kept coming in, you know, every day, and we're looking at this, all this starts looking really good. I feel like we have a lot of good places and area. Okay, so this is actually now the very next day. You know, I went to sleep, I woke up, did everything I needed to do in my day, work and all that. After coming home from work, all that, I knew I needed to continue to have this, to finish this layout, because I felt like I wasn't in a good point to release this video. Like every time I want to release a video, I want to be in a good point that it feels good enough for you guys. If you guys are following along, if you guys are following along to this series, if you guys are following along to this design, I don't want to do a video knowing that there's going to be major changes, right? Because if you guys are following along and then I'm doing this humongous change, this 180 completely and changing, then I don't want you guys to be like, oh man, I put all this work, and by the time he released part 2, now it's all like I need to redo all this. So this is why sometimes my videos may take a little longer to come out, because I have to make sure. I really want to make sure. I don't want to give you too much trouble, too much situations that you guys have to rework sometimes your builds 3, 4, 5 times, because I just released a video with a little bit and then I gotta kind of redo it. So the next day, so I knew this is the row, right? This is the row that we've been talking about. I knew this row was coming. And the idea of the row, I didn't want it just to have a little straight row, right? I want this row to kind of curve up a little bit, give me space, because I knew right behind this build, I kind of want to put palm trees, 2 different palm trees. I'll maybe put some flower. I wanted to have a little bit of a kind of palm tree line. The row kind of goes up a little bit on the side and then goes straight. And the idea with that is, I don't want all the rows to be completely straight and then 90 degrees. I kind of want to have sometimes a little bit curve, as much as we can make it happen in Dinkum. And this one was a little tricky. It took me a moment to really make it like where to start and where to end as we go in the curve on the, so we can kind of go diagonally, right? So we can go diagonally and then curve in and go straight. Because and then once we go straight, kind of in the midway point, kind of where you see that turkey in the background, somewhere around there in this tier level, we're gonna put the next building. It's gonna be kind of in the middle of the build behind there, so it'll force people to, if they want to go to that building, if they want to visit that area, they gotta walk all this way. They either gotta come through Franklin or come to the boat dock, and that's the idea, right? Is to, so we are kind of forced to walk our island, see what we build, but then at the same time, I want to have movement in my island. I want to have like just ways to get in, but I don't want just the rows to be straight. And that's something that I'm slowly trying to improve at. Is I want everything to feel that has a flow, that has a motion to it, you know. And it was a little, it's always a little bit tricky for me to make this happen. So I can kind of keep my roads the same width as I'm going diagonally, and then go back to straight. But also the purpose was because I want to have a little bit of a tree line. And another way that I could approach this, if this is a little too hard, a little too complicated, yeah, I could have made it straight, but then I had to kind of take out the bridge that's on Franklin's area, kind of move it more back, so then I can have the space to do the kind of the palm tree line that I want, and that way then you row can go straight. But I kind of wanted to challenge myself. I kind of want to keep pushing the island's design, the layout. I want to have my rows to be a little more alive, more, you know, just curving a little bit and curve and then it goes straight. We want to have a little more cul-de-sac. We want to have a roundabout. We want to, you know, we want to keep making things that way. It's not just straightforward, straight 90 degrees and then again straight. You know, I'm trying to improve and keep improving my design layout, because I feel like every time we approach this and every time we're gonna keep improving our designs, that the next town is gonna look even better, and then the following town is gonna look even better, and as we continue to improve our layouts, better ideas are gonna come up, better transition from one area to the next, from one road to the next, to this building to the next building. Then every transition we're gonna keep improving because we are getting better, and that's my goal. You know, I know I mentioned it many times, one of my favorite things in Dinkum is designing. It's actually designing a town, designing the layout, and having ways to get in and out, and stairs, and just ways, and where to put the building, and having a tree line, and having our roads, and that's what I truly enjoy, and that's what I want to keep improving. I want to keep improving our builds, our transition from one area to the next, and this is why, even though it's a little hard, it's a little, it takes a moment to create diagonal roads in Dinkum to because you want to make him look good. You just don't want to just throw it out there, but I think we're managing, we're making good, and I know that's gonna keep improving as time goes on, especially on my gameplay and on my designing. I do feel like every time we design something, we are getting better. I think all of us are getting better every time we push ourselves, and that's where we're at right now. But this is, and as you can see, it's gonna be kind of cool, because you see the bridge on the back, there's the road, and then we're gonna go diagonally, and then go to the road, and then all this part is gonna be filled with palm trees, flower, the bush, and it's gonna look really good. And then we're also gonna add a hedges, and we're gonna add a fence, so we can have a little bit of a background behind all the boathouses, and just give a little depth. Now the fence, I'll be going back and forth. I gotta do a trial run, because I did the palm wood gate, and I like the look, and I like how it looks. But today when I woke up and I knew I was gonna do all this voice work and all that, I was thinking another section on the coastal town that I do, that I started doing the copper fence, because it's a little more orange. And I think I'm gonna try that. I wanna see how that looks on this design back here, because I think the palm wood fence back here is being lost a little bit, and I think if I bring the copper and bring that little bit extra orange with the building that are red, and then with the hedges, I think we're gonna be able to create a little bit something more better. I feel, at least in my mind, that aesthetically, I think it's gonna stand out. I think my eye's gonna catch that better, and it's gonna look good. But I need to try it, and that's something that I woke up today. I haven't tried it yet, because I knew I already had this video ready. I edited it, and I needed just to do the voice work, and so you guys can have now something new to follow while we work. So then I can start working on the second part, on the item placement, tweaks, new things that we want to add or not, trial and error, and that's gonna be one of those. So this palm wood gate that you see that we place, I think I may want to add the copper, and I feel that it may actually, it's gonna look good. It's gonna bring another color into the play area that we have this build. But maybe as soon as I place it, I'm like, ooh, no, it doesn't look good. So it's just a feeling. I feel like it could look good, but I don't know. So if you get to this point and my video hasn't, but the second part hasn't come out, you guys can try it out, and maybe you guys get ahead of me, and maybe for your taste it's not good, and you guys still prefer this one, or you guys may use another fence, and that's the best thing about this. And I always say it in the videos, taste, everybody's taste is always gonna be different. Our approaches are always gonna be different, and what fence you like is gonna be different than what I like. And my ideas, my videos are always to inspire and to give you layouts, give you designs, give you an approach so you can do something in your island, and then you tweak it 100%, copy it 100%. All I want is for you guys to always be motivated, and you guys always be able to push your builds to better heights, to higher places, so you guys can be creating even better designs, as we slowly, as we're looking at videos that people are making of island tours, and so I'm trying to do a little more when I'm available, and people are requesting to go to their islands to do island tour. I'm trying to make the time to go there. Inspirations are always gonna keep building, and we are gonna be inspiring each and every time. And every time we see something new, we like, oh my goodness, I want to do that too. Oh my goodness, I want to do that too. And I think that's what's gonna keep pushing our builds more and more to our limits. And that's why I always say that, doing town builds, your islands, they're not gonna be done for a long time. They're gonna be done if you want it to be done. But if you want to keep improving, you want to create another area, another aesthetic, another design, this is why we are doing this. you know, after we finish the coastal town and finish this vibe and this way to approach a new area in Dinkum, I want to do a forest town, and that's going to be my next goal. Is after we finish here, I'm moving on and we're going to create a whole new town again with different layouts, different tiles, different everything, you know, trying to figure out more of a natural approach when it comes to the forest town. And by then we're gonna have the waterfalls, we're gonna have this. So what kind of aesthetic, what kind of town we can make in that vibe? Because, you know, not everybody's gonna be in love with the coastal town. Not everybody likes this type of design or this aesthetic that you're watching. They're watching to get the ideas of the layout, and then they may be duplicating this whole build, but instead of making it feel like a coastal town, they're making it feel like a cottagecore or like a desert, or they're making it feel like it's all woods. Who knows, you know? But that's the good thing about layouts, right? Layouts can work for anything. You got the layout, you got the placement, you just gotta fill the areas now with whatever you want. But at least the layout, you have it, so you can go and design and then just put what you want inside the layout. And I think that's a good way to approach it, a good way to think about it. If you're watching these videos, if you're just watching to get inspiration, to get ideas, you know, just because I'm making this a coastal town, but the layout, you can use it for any type of build that you want. Okay, so now we're working on a tree line, right? So I'm trying to imagine myself that, and this is where I'm still trying to improve every day, is tree placement, flower placement, bushes. I'm still not the best at it. I still have a hard time imagining how everything is gonna look when they grow, you know? So, and I'm trying to create like a cool pattern, like, okay, so one here, this here, one here, this here, but then we take 3 spaces and then we add another palm tree. And then I was like, okay, so let's say I have coconuts on the front, so I can have this type of palm tree, but then on the back side, I'm gonna do the other palm tree and then place them right behind it. And I'm just trying to visualize something. I don't know if it's gonna look good at the end. These are the areas that I'm still trying to improve, and I feel like the more I push myself in tree placement, flower placement, rearranging the natural, I think I'm gonna keep learning. I'm gonna keep improving, and then slowly we're gonna get better. Because it's one, I feel like it's still one of my weaknesses, is how these trees are gonna grow. How this is gonna look, is this gonna look pleasing to the eye once they grow, you know? And I'm always a little nervous when it comes to that. But, you know, I found different people to watch and to learn from them, because they decorate very heavy when using tree lines, using the bush, using the flower, using the flower boxes and all that. And then I'm learning from them, so I can then implement that into my build. So it's a good way, because it motivates me to keep searching for videos, to keep searching for other creators, so I can learn from them. So then I can bring that here, and then I can also improve my design, and then also help you guys out. So it's always it's a win-win, you know. It's never a loss, and we just keep improving. Okay, so then I had this idea, and this is one little square higher here. I think what I wanted to do here, and hopefully it works, and we'll know once part 2 comes out. But I kind of want to do like a little seating area way up high right here, that's gonna look a little more down into that area. I think I need to raise it one more high. As the more I look at it, the more I was playing, but I decided just to end the video because I was not gonna work on this particular area. But I believe I'm gonna go one more high. We're gonna have the stairs coming, and then we're gonna make like a little sitting place right there. I don't know. That's the idea. Just a little seating area. I don't know what type of seating area. I don't know if I want to put the umbrellas. I don't know what kind of seating do I want. I just felt like I needed something more in this corner than just trees. So that was the first thing that came into my mind, is to do that. So we'll see when that time comes what happens. Maybe by part 2 all that could be flat, because maybe the idea didn't work and it's just horrible, and then it goes back. But I kind of, at least I marked the space that I wanted. It may still have to go wide, it may still have to go maybe I don't know, it may still need me to retweak, but at least I marked the corner that I kind of visualized that I needed. Okay, So this is when now we got the back row, right? And now I know exactly how long that road's gonna be. I got my tree line, my palm tree line, and I kind of have an idea where the building is gonna go. The next building that I believe is gonna be Trek Place. I think I'm gonna move her back there. It's gonna be the clothing store, and unless I decide on another building, but I think that's right now what I'm visualizing who I'm gonna move back there. But okay, so I kind of know where I want. I kind of know where the road ends, and now I'm like, okay, so now this is a good chance to refix this dock, because I want to have a little more water space. I want to have a little more water to come in. So now what we're gonna do is basically extend the dock to where I'm gonna mark it right over here. As you see way in the back, you kind of see where the road ends and then comes down, because the road is gonna attach to the high-rise dock, right? This dock walking on top. So once we attach those two, then I know exactly the width, and then it's just basically taking down the wall where we got the first walk that's no longer gonna be there, and then we're gonna push everything back. Hopefully I explained that the best way that I can. I know I'm going a little bit of ahead, but right here I'm just trying not to adjust the build. I'm making sure that I want it now this big, just to make sure. And I was a little scared, to be honest, because I was like, am I making this too big now? And then I remember at a point when I was moving everything, I was like, oh man, this is too big. But then I realized, oh wait, I just need to make the docks shorter. That way I can have all the water come in. And I truly got scared there for a moment, because I was like, oh my goodness, I did all this work and now this looks way too big. I got too much dock, but I forgot that I needed just to break down the dock. The dock has to be the same length that I had it originally. It's just the whole reason is I wanted to have more water inside the dock area. And once I fixed it, and once I did that, I was like, whoo, okay, everything is looking good. Everything is good. But it's always scary, right? Because you got something done, and then you're thinking you're gonna fix it, and then as you're fixing it, then it hasn't got to that point, but you're trying to visualize it, and then you're visualizing it's not matching to what you really wanted, aesthetic, pleasing, and then you're freaking out, you know. And I had to calm myself down. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, calm down. We need, you know, and I needed to just take it slow, take it one step at a time, keep imagining, keep approaching it, and that's what I was doing the whole time. It was just more, okay, just making sure that everything is lining up, everything is working correctly, everything is, you know, and then take it slowly. Take it. I kept working on the back. I went to the back again just to make sure the transition from going from the row to going over here, from the corner, from the walkway that we're gonna create so we can sit down to the dock, that everything is right? Because now I don't have, you know, in my notebook, I created what I had on my notebook, but now I'm adjusting the build, and I needed to make sure and take it slowly to make sure what I'm adjusting now is gonna match, and that's why you see me sometimes my character just stand, because I'm literally just staring at the screen and just looking at it, and I'm like, okay, do I got this right? Is everything gonna match? Am I making this too big? Am I making a mistake? Wait, where the stairs are gonna go? And sometimes, you know, I know I'm a person that overthink builds. I'm always trying to analyze, and I want to make sure that I got everything. And then here, at one point here, I was about to fill up all this area, and then I realized, wait, I don't need to fill this up. I actually need to take this wall down so I can push this back. And I almost filled this whole square up. I don't know what I was thinking, because now my mind is trying to adjust to the build, right? And I'm not going in the order that I was intended to do. And the initial trial runs and the practice runs and all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I almost did fill all this up with sand, and then that would have been a nightmare, because after doing all that work I would have realized, oh no, I need to actually lower all of this down. So before I did that, before I moved the boathouse, I was like, okay, let me finish this walkway up here. Where's the beginning? Where's the end? where's the fence supposed to go, where are the stairs supposed to go. That way I know if I got the right distance. And that was the approach, right? And that's why I stopped everything. I went back to the top. I'm like, okay, this is where the stairs are supposed to go down so we can lead to the dock. This is where it goes up, and we go up here. And once I started putting the layout and putting the idea and the build back together, I felt more calm, I felt more at peace, and then it was okay, now I can feel this area. Now we can make the dock a little higher. And when it comes to the boat dock, I like my boat docks a little higher from the water. You guys can make it the one level, here's the water, and they go one up. I like my docks to have a little more height, and that's gonna be truly aesthetic. If you guys like a little lower, make it a little lower. If you like it higher, make it higher. I don't go any higher than what I'm at, because then it's too high. Then the water level is really low, and then docks are a little high. But I like a little height difference. But really, if you guys like it lower, make it lower. You know, when it comes to boat docks, it's gonna be what fits better for you, what's more pleasing. And always remember, this is what's pleasing to you, not to me, not to other people. Is you gotta enjoy your island, you gotta enjoy your build. When you look at it, you gotta be happy with it. You know, it's not to make me happy, it's not to make other people happy, but it's you. This is your island, this is your build, this is your approach, this is what you're working on. So I'm always honored when I hear the comments and people are saying that they're imitating this, they're doing this, they're taking inspiration from this, and I love it because that's the whole purpose, right? The whole purpose is always for you guys to be inspired, so you guys take this inspiration, so you guys keep working on your island, so we can continue playing Dinkum and get better at it. But always remember, is you gotta be happy with your approach, you gotta be happy with your build, you gotta be happy with how everything looks. Just because I did it this way, another creator did it that way, that doesn't mean that their way is the best way, you know, because it's not. It's the way we're gonna approach our builds is because we like it, we like what we see, you know. And I love you guys' feedback. The last one for the volleyball court was one of the best feedbacks that I ever had, and I truly believe it improved the build 100%. There's no denying it, not in my part, you know, because it truly did. It truly made my build so much better, and that was because of you guys' feedback, you know. But I was happy. I was very happy with how everything turned out, you know. And if it didn't work out, and if it wasn't pleasing, or if I really like what I did before, then I like what I did before, you know, because everybody's gonna be different. But truly, always remember, when it comes to building, when it comes to design, when it comes to aesthetic, when it comes to color scheme, just because I don't like how a combination works together, because that's my taste, you know, but you guys like that combination, you use it, and that's great, because that's when our islands are gonna be more unique and more different from one another. I know I'm more basic, I know that I'm very basic in decoration. I don't take a lot of like different combinations. I'm more, I don't know, I know I'm more basic when it comes to designing. So when it comes to that, or decorating, is that's my take, you know. But okay, so you see this area right here? This is when I was freaking out, because I was like, oh my gosh, this dock is too big, what am I doing? Like, I was like, seriously, what happened here? Why this is so big? And then I realized, oh no, wait, I need to make the dock smaller. But truly, I remember I had a panic, and like my heart like my chest just went up, and I was like, oh no, this is, I was like, this is ugly, like this is not right, this is doesn't look like a boat dock at all. And it was a moment of freaking out, and then a moment of realization, like, wait, the whole reason that I pushed this back is so I can have more water. And once I brought the water, I made this space, and then you see the dock different, like, okay, we got this. It was one of those things that I truly, you know, I don't know what happened in my brain, you know, so sometimes you're playing, you're building, your mind is going in so many different directions, especially when you're designing, you know, you're constantly thinking. And I know me, I'm constantly thinking ahead. I'm thinking of what's coming next. How will this look? Do I got this right? Did I put the item placement correctly? Do I got the right measurements? I'm always going back and forth, you know. But in that moment, in that scenario, at one point I was like, oh my goodness, what happened? But I figured it out. I remember the whole reason we were pushing this. It was to bring the water in. And once I did that, make the docking area a little shorter, I did what's feeling right. And then slowly we're getting now the build more together, right? Everything is falling into place. We're getting the areas that we want. I'm realizing that I wanted to make this that little seating area. I needed to be I needed to take that line that I just took out, because the fence supposed to still cut through there. So I was like, okay, I need to adjust it here. And this is when we're doing a little more of the tweaking for the initial layout. That way I needed to find this point, and I know I already talked about it, but I needed to find this point where I was like, okay, this is a point that I can release this video. And now we're getting to that point, to that area that I was finally feeling happy with the build, happy with the layout, happy with the stuff that we have laid out, the foundation of the build, right? The initial idea. And then as I'm trying to tweak the areas and the places, I'm trying different approaches of the houses, just maybe facing a little this way or a little the other way. I knew this corner now I needed to take it out, because since we expanded it a little more down, some of this area now became a little too long. So and that also gave me the space to make this little dock area a little more wide, or a little more open right here, because at first it was so narrow, such a little walkway. It looked too full. It didn't look the way that I wanted to look. So by now shrinking that down, it just started to make this area now feel a little better. And at least for me, you know, it just made it feel. Here's where we're gonna have another little stair layout leading to the second part of the top, and it's just all this is just tweaking now the build, because since I pushed it more back, I had all this extra area right over here to do. So, and right here I needed to push in a little more water, because of course I wanted more water to come over here, because this section right here is supposed to be like a little like a hallway, like a little walkway. Is you got your boathouse, a little walkway, and then more water coming in. And that the idea, right? The approach, why we're fixing it is because I wanted more water to come in. You know, I did end up leaving this long dock area like this, because I kind of like now that looks even longer. And I think once we bring the water, I think it did look so much better, you know, having the long dock just going there. And I think all of this is gonna start looking so much better once we get to part 2 and we start doing all the decorating, all the item placements, all the stuff that's gonna make this build fun. Okay, so what I decided here is to push the houses a little more to the front. On the back, we're gonna do like a little second wall on the back, because I think what I want to do, and we're gonna try it out on part 2, is more. I want to do some item placements back there, like the barrels, crates, just anything that I can think of. And we're gonna be trying things to make a little more full, like behind the boathouses. In this little section is a little maybe like a little storage area, like just people just put crates, or they're just putting the barrels, or anything else that I can think of that I can go back there that could work as for boat dock items. That's what I want to do back there. And also it's going to give us another layer, instead of just being flat against the wall, it's going to give us a little depth, a little more to look at, a little more items behind it. It's just all for aesthetic reasons, right? When we're getting to the point when we're decorating and putting items, it's all aesthetics. It's all to create this effect of depth and height and just all of that, you know. And that's what makes builds a little more realistic, a little more just having a little bit more to look at and all that. Okay, so now that I was happy with the layout, I have what I wanted, I feel like we're in a good spot. Now what I'm gonna do is bring the depth that I know I want this to be. And I think I went 3 deep, but then eventually I did realize I needed to go 4 deep to match the other side. And once and then we go 4 deep on this whole different digging down. We're gonna go 4 deep, and that gives us enough depth, so that way we have a good depth, but we can still kind of see the floor. I'm figuring now that the more deep you go, the less you see of the floor, and I kind of don't like that. I kind of want to be able to see a little bit of the floor. And here in this little section here, I swam over there because I wanted to see the depth of the water, you know, like how deep did I went. And so I was looking at the outline of the brick or the wood, so I can kind of match it. So here we're just gonna now start clearing the other side, and I believe we go back to the other side because I figured out that it needed to be 4 instead of 3. So, but everything is falling into place, you know. We're getting closer and closer to this build, to finally to that point that I want to find that point that I know I can finally release the video, because these are long videos. They're designed, they're more layout based, and when it comes to this type of videos, and if a lot of you are following along and getting inspiration, I want to have something that I know to that point is a good point, and if you guys are following, by the time I get the second part out, you guys are in a good position. I'm always gonna try not to make you guys redo so many things, unless like what happened with the volleyball court, you know. It's one of those things, you know, that you did the whole build, but I think we got now 2 volleyball courts, 2 ideas that works for a small area and a big area. So, but I'm always trying to find the best place, the best spot for you guys to be able to follow along. But then when you guys need to not follow and you are watching the video, it's a good point, and you guys can feel confident that you guys can try to start following this build along, knowing that the next part is just gonna keep going on the build, right? And then hopefully if part 2 comes out, it's just minor changes that we need to do. Okay, so here this bridge is gonna be adjusted a little bit, that way everything fits better with this little corner. I don't know if I'm just gonna make the bridge shorter or longer or what, but I don't like how the bridge and then we have that corner. I like the stairway because I don't want that the stairs are going down to the telly tower. I want it to be right there. I want it to be ashore. I don't want to take too much of that space right there. So I'm gonna be tweaking that, and so I think it's gonna be just the bridge, maybe just pushing the brick a little 1 square back in that corner. So then we have the fencing, so everything. So when you're getting off the bridge and you're curving into the stairs going to go down, it feels a little better. It feels a little more comfortable, right? And that's the idea. Okay, so now I'm just finishing. I want to make sure that the walkway over here, I do have it correctly before I say, okay, we got it now. So I'm just filling up the area, making sure that I have the 2 squares that I want to walk on, and then we're gonna have the other fence. And like I said, so on this high point right here, on one side, we're gonna be able to look at the dock, at the boat dock, boat houses, all that decoration is gonna be a nice viewpoint, right? But then on the other side, it's gonna be the pool, and then we're gonna be able to look from up high, look down into the pool, and I think that's gonna be also very aesthetic, very pleasing, very designed, you know, very good, and that's what I'm hoping. Here, I realized that I did a mistake. I'm like, whoops, it was supposed to be cement fence right here. Okay, and then we got the stairs. Those stairs are the ones that are leading down. They're gonna lead to a road. One side is gonna be a cul-de-sac, and then on top of the cul-de-sac is gonna be the pool. That's the idea. And then the road's gonna lead down, and it's gonna lead down to this area, and that's gonna connect to the front of the island, because part of this front of the island on this section hasn't been done. You know, we just need to get to that point, you know. But I like to build for what I'm inspired, and I was inspired to keep working on the boat docks instead of working on the front of the island or on the other side of the island. I kind of want to keep working on this middle idea and sections of the island. But slowly it's looking better, right? We're getting the layout, we're getting the views, we're getting the angles, we're getting the walkways, and all that. On the boat dock, don't forget, I went with dark wood right now. You know, you guys can go gumwood, go palm wood, go whichever one you want to go with. Right now I went with the hardwood because I already had it in other 2 little boat docks area, so I kind of want my boat docks to match when it comes to that. But just pick whichever wood you want and you feel like it looks better for your island, for your composition, from the items that you're using, for the fence that you're using. I'm gonna leave that up to you guys to see what you guys want to do. But I'm making sure that I got the enough space for the stairs back here as well. So now it's just making sure that the layout that I want, that I have in my head, that I can walk around, that I can see what I wanted to see in the different angles, that I can see all the way to Franklin's Place, that I can see the bridges, that I can see the other dock, that these roofs of the houses are not too high, you know, because if not, then I need to raise the level on the front. So it's a lot of little things that at the end of this video that you're gonna see my character walking around a lot. It's just making sure before I start doing the heavy decorating part. And this is why I always suggest, as much as you can, look at your build from different angles, you know, just to make sure that nothing's gonna caught you off guard, and that you can always make sure. And then if you really want to see something in the background, something that you guys is gonna be part of your build aesthetic, when you're looking at your island, when you're looking at the view, when you're looking at the design, you know, and just focus not just also on your build, but what's beyond your build, what you see from far away. And then, because you may be looking at it and you're like, oh, if I go one higher, I can see that better. Oh, if I go three higher, I will have a better viewpoint. And that's what you want to do, you know. Same thing with your bridges. You know, you could have a bridge that's leading to that side of the island, but then you're like, man, if I make this bridge higher, it's gonna give it. Oh, if I make it lower, then the view looking up is gonna be better. So it's always go back and forth. That's always gonna be my advice. Is just look at your build from different angles as much as you can. You know, take the time to walk far away, very close, very high, you know, and just look at it. And it's not just looking at it from a helicopter, because the helicopter is going to give you a great view, right? And it's going to, wow, look at this, it looks great. But a lot of your island is meant to be walked on, you know, it's meant to you walking or you're driving. In my point of view, in my scenario, in my head, it's always going to be walking most of the time. So when you're looking, try to look at it as you were walking, or as you're climbing up, or you're in a higher tier, but it's because there's going to be a viewpoint up there, or if somebody climbs the mountain or anything like that. That always be my recommendation, to look at it like that first. Now the helicopter view and all that stuff is going to be great, because it's just you're seeing the big build, the big picture. But aesthetic wise, I will always suggest to do it, you know, like this, with a motorbike, run it, look at it, just see how everything is flowing from ground level, and then at the end do it with the helicopter. At least that's always going to be my advice that way. And then always remember, look far away, see what you see, and see if that's something that's important to you, so when you're standing in specific places, you want to see that. Okay, so here I had this last little detail that I knew I wanted to do, because I did it on Franklin, and I kind of wanted to bring that over here. And it was just putting, this is just for aesthetic. This is just to be a little more pretty and to have a little more in the background. I wanted to put these windmills in the back, and I wanted to do 3, but I already made this palm tree line. So I was trying to decide how to place them and how to approach it. And I was like, okay, I want it to be a little bit, I believe I put 4, yeah, because we put 2 in the middle, 1 in one corner and 1 in the other corner. But then I want to have equal spacing on both sides. Now, this, you don't have to do it, you know, this is just because I wanted a little more in the background, a little more to look at. And then once we finish this row, as you're driving, this gives it a little height that's not just trees. It just, I don't know, I wanted something more. And the only thing that I could think of right now was the windmill. But I think when I look at it from over here and you see that, I think that looks good. It's gonna be for something that we are gonna be using, but it's more just for visualization, just for it to look pretty. It's really that's and I wanted to give it a little something more to the end. So when we look at it from that back there, or from the front, or whichever direction we're looking at it, I wanted to have something else to look at it, just palm trees. And right now I think this is good, and people, you can use your imagination and think about it. Why are those things back there? Maybe wind power, wind energy, anything. But I think I like the end. I like the way it looked. I think it gave something else for me to look at when I'm walking. And I think once we keep doing the decorating, finishing the touch-ups, changing the fences, have the road, having the buildings, having everything that we need to, I think all of that is gonna blend together. At the end, just in case, as I'm working, all that could go away, and then I could take all those windmills out and then do something else. But I think, honestly, I like it. It's just more aesthetic. I like how it looked on Franklin's, and how when I'm looking at it from the low point, from the Franklin area and all that, it just gave it a little look, and I wanted to bring that over here, kind of to match. And I think from all these angles and looking at it from far away, I think it gives it a little more height. They're a little higher than the palm trees. They kind of blend into the background, and then when you're looking at it, and if you're looking for it, it looks really nice. But if you're not looking for it, they just blend right in, you know. And yeah, but we're getting there. We're getting so close to the end. We're doing the final walkthrough, because I wanted to make sure, we spoke a little earlier, I want to make sure that all the angles are good. Like, at least the layout part, I'm very satisfied before I'm like, okay, we got a video here. Now let's just edit, do the voiceover, and get it out there for you guys to start following along. So I'm checking like all these low angles, right? I'm looking at the view from this dock, how it looks from over here, how it looks from that little bridge, how it looks from the high top, looks from Franklin. So, and this is my approach. Always at the very end, I'm always approaching it all these different ways. Which angle, making sure that way, because sometimes when you look at it from this, you're like, I wanted to see that, I don't see it. Can I change that? Can I fix it? And that's why. And that's why you see my character kind of always at the end of the video just walking around. I'm just looking. I just want to make sure that I got everything that I wanted, that it feels right, and that I'm happy with it. And the most important is that you're happy with it. It's not that I'm happy. It's, well, on my video I'm happy, but when you guys are following, I want you guys to be happy. So tweak it. Always tweak the builds to the point of your happiness. That way you enjoy it, brings a smile to your face, and you're happy. But we made it to the end of this video. Part 1, part 2 coming soon. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos, and we'll see you next time. Alright, see you later. Bye.